And it is now official, folks. AMD has come out with this announcement ahead of CES 2025, where they have mentioned quite a lot of things going on. A lot of the rumors that we were talking about are now confirmed. Starting right off the gate, the 9950 X3D and the 9900 X3D are now official. They will support up to 5.7 gigahertz of max clock speed, 104 megabytes of total cache. That is for the 9950 X3D, 16 cores, 32 threads. And then you've got the 9900 X3D at 12 cores, 24 threads, 5.5 max gigahertz boost clock, 140 megabytes of cache. So that's 4 megabytes less. 120 watt TDP. The Behemoth is at 170 watt TDP. And if you look at the price ranges here, they don't mention anything. Okay, there's no determined to be determined. But if you go by previous generations, they're going to slot in at what we would reasonably predict. AMD is claiming that the 9950 X3D, when compared to a 7950 X3D at 1080p, 8% average faster based on 40 games. And they list the games here. Compared to the competition, the Intel Core Ultra 9 285K, the 9950 X3D offers up to 64% faster performance and 20% improvement on average, with several games delivering 20 to 30% an uplift. Moving on to the 9950 X3D, they compare this to the 285K Intel Core Ultra 9, 20% average faster based on 40 games tested. Okay. Lastly, it's not just gaming performance that has a tremendous uplift. The 9950 X3D manages up to 23% and an average 13% in uplift in content creation workloads such as Corona, Blender, Cinebench, and Adobe Photoshop. So with the higher end Ryzen 9 X3D CPUs, you won't be missing out on workstation grade performance. And what we have here is this little slide here, world's best processor for content creation. When compared to the 7950 X3D, what we have here is the 9950 X3D is 13, this is kind of obscured by this little arrow here, 13% average faster content creation based on 20 apps. Let's move the next slide over. 10% average faster creation speed, creation based on 20 apps when compared to the 2885K Intel Core Ultra 9. For availability, all AMD is saying is first quarter of 2025. They'll be more specific. I'm sure that they will announce pricing and details at CES, but we're not done yet here. No, they also unveiled the 9000 Fire Range laptop CPUs. This is a tongue twister even for those of us stroke sufferers. So bear with me. We've got the 9955 HX3D. Good grief. And they're called Fire Range. These CPUs are the direct successor to the Dragon Range Ryzen 7000 HX CPUs that featured Zen 4 architecture. These new chips are based on the newer Zen 5 and incorporate the second generation of 3D V-Cache. These are poised to be the flagship CPUs with a staggering 16-core, 32 threads. This would bring incredible amounts of application and gaming performance to the table. The chip will feature boost clock up to 5.4 gigahertz, 144 megabytes of cache, and a TDP of just 54 watts. This is the same clock speed as the 7945 HX3D, but with upgraded 3D V-Cache and the Zen 5. The chip will be dedicated to high-end gaming laptops featuring the newer discrete GPUs from NVIDIA and AMD. Besides the 3D V-Cache option, AMD also has two standard yet high-end ones, such as the 9955HX and the 9850HX. According to this slide here, the 9955HX 3D, 16 cores, 32 threads, 54 watt TDP, 5.5 max boost, 144 megabytes of cache. But the lower end, as you scale downward, 9955HX, 16 cores, 32 threads, 5.4 max boost, 80 megs of cache, and 54 watt TDP. The same for the 9850HX, which gets cut down to 12 cores, 24 threads, 5.2 gigahertz max boost, 76 megabytes of cache. Again, available first quarter 2025. This is their lineup. This is their proposed for laptops. And it gets better. We have the Ryzen Z2 APUs for gaming handhelds revealed. These are called the Strix Rembrandt, I believe. No, Z2 Extreme Strix, Z2 Hawk, and Z2 Go Rembrandt with up to 8 CPU cores, 16 GPU cores. Now, this is an interesting if you're into the handhelds. AMD has announced its next-gen Ryzen A2 APU lineup for gaming handhelds, which will come in Z2 Extreme, Z2 Vanilla, and Z2 Go. And this is following their success of the Z1 series. That's been in some of the gaming handhelds now. I think ASUS has one. Yeah. As of today's announcement, AMD revealed its commitment to bringing console-class gaming to the handhelds. AMD's goal here, according to WCC Tech, is they're saying a significant increase in TAM while offering more products to the market. The gaming handhelds will offer improved battery timing, better software support, and performance leadership compared to their rivals. So what we have here is the Ryzen Z2 Extreme is going to be a max boost of 5.5 gigahertz, 24 mega cache, 15 to 35 watt TDP, and 16 RDNA 3.5 iGPU cores. The chip is based on the Strix die and will be the first true silicon on chip for handhelds for the Zen 5 architecture. The Vanilla Z2 clocks in at 5.1 gigahertz, 24 meg of cache, 15 to 30 watts of TDP, and 12 compute units based on the RDNA 3-core architecture. Then you have the Ryzen Z2 Go, which is the entry-level APU based on the Rembrandt die, 4 cores, 8 threads, 4.3 gigahertz of clock speed, 10 megabytes of cache, and a 15 to 30 watt TDP with 12 GPU cores based on RDNA 2 architecture. Once again, these are also going to be available first quarter 2025. And finally, the final announcement, AMD has also confirmed the 9070 and the RX 9060 RDNA 4. But they use a lot of boilerplate here. So, yeah, bear with me. I need a drink. I gotta get a coffee here. Hold up. Oh my goodness, much better. Man, that French roast is excellent. I'm one of these people that if I could get like a hypodermic transmission funnel into my right arm and I just pour the coffee right in, that would be great. AMD's GPU division last saw the release of the Radeon RX 7000 series based on the RDNA 3 architecture. It's been over a year since the release. AMD is going a different route with RDNA 4. Instead of focusing on the ultra enthusiast segment, AMD's RDNA 4 lineup will be going up against more mainstream offerings. And this is the interesting thing. This is the part of the announcement that I personally like the best. What we have here is the AMD will introduce the 9070 XT and the Radeon RX 9070. These GPUs will come equipped with up to 16 gig of video RAM. The RX 9070 XT will compete against the RTX 4070 Ti from NVIDIA, while the RX 9070 will compete against the RTX 4070. The Radeon RX 9060 series will be competing against the 4060 series. They do have a slide here that I think is interesting, even when AMD is comparing it to their own products. AMD also simplified the naming scheme to be in sync with its Ryzen 9000 CPUs, while the GPU model naming has been simplified to match that of its competitors. A lot of people are complaining about that, saying, AMD's just copying NVIDIA. And, to an extent, they got its merit. There is merit there, but you got to think this is a business and they want to sell these products. They want to sell these GPUs. So they want to make it to where their naming scheme has parity with their performance relating to the competition. So I don't blame them for that. They want to sell these things. Can't blame them for that. So while the GPU naming model has been simplified, there's going to be some confusion because NVIDIA has the 70 class competitor, while the 9060 equals an NVIDIA 60 class competitor. The XT and non-XT variants will have the same segmentation as before, with the XT being the higher end offering, while the non-XT variant is designed to be more cost effective. And here's their little slide. Let me bring this in full screen here. It's going to be hard to see because of the color scheming that they used. But if you look here, it lists RTX 4080, 4070 Ti, 4070, the 4060, and the RTX 4060 GT, or the OC, I think that is. Hard to see there. The RX 5000 series fits into this box here. Then you have the RX 7900 XTX, the XT, my little GRE, the 7900 GRE, and the 7800 XT3. All of these are going to slot into and be compared to the RX 9070 going forward. The 7700 XT and the 76 XT will have be upgraded. Their direct upgrade will be the 9060 RX. So there you go. That's how they're doing this. I can't really complain too much. It's a little too close to NVIDIA. I understand that. We got to get used to that. It'll be available in both reference and non-reference flavors from AIB, such as ASUS, ASRock, Gigabyte, PowerColor, XFX, Yeston, Sapphire, Acer, and Vestarmore. That's an interesting name. Vestarmore. One big feature that they're touting with the new GPUs coming, RDNA 4 architecture, is the support for FSR 4. The new technology will only be supported on RDNA 4 GPUs and will feature parity with NVIDIA's DLSS and Intel's XeSS, which also leverage dedicated AI accelerators for upscaling available on the GPU dies. FSR4 is said to offer high-quality 4K upscaling with additional high performance provided through FSR's frame generation and lower latency, because they're going to also roll out anti-lag too. The best part about FS4 is that it will be supported across all games that already have FSR 3.1. The main highlight of FSR 4 is Call of Duty Black Ops 6, but FSR 3.1 is already available for several high-profile AAA games, so that means those are ready for FSR 4 too. So that's good news. You just have to need the supported RDNA 4 GPU, such as the 9070 and the 9060. Also, AMD is also interested in introducing a brand new utility with its Adrenalin software suite called Adrenalin AI. Of course, they have to find somewhere to squeeze an AI name in there, right? It allows users to generate images, summarize local documents, and ask AMD-related questions. This is similar to NVIDIA's Chat RTX and AI's Playground. AMD was already with Amuse on offering an AI-centric utility, but it's good to see that everyone who is using the AMD Adrenalin suite will have access to these features for a more personalized and local AI experience. So these are the GPU lineup for the 9000 series, you've got, once again, the RX 9070 XT at 16 gig RAM, the 9070 RX 9070, the non-XT variant, with also 16 gig of RAM. What we're kind of confused on, what we don't know yet so far, is whether the 9060 XT or the 9060 vanilla will have 8 gig or 16 or 12 gig of RAM. We don't know the memory configuration there yet. So more details are coming at CES. But there's also another report, my final thing I want to talk about in this massive video, 15 minutes long. What we have here is ASUS has leaked or unveiled their 9070 XT and RX 9070 Tough Gaming and Prime 16 gig GPUs. And they feature three of them, 8-pin connectors. Considering that CPUs like the 9800 X3D are turning heads everywhere for their unstoppable gaming prowess, you might be thinking about building a new PC, and you're going to need potent graphics to go with it. So we have the Radeon RX 9070 XT and the RX 9070 models from ASUS in their Tough Gaming and Prime lineup. Armed with the latest RDNA 4 architecture and supersized 16 gig of RAM, these graphics cards stand poised to give you premium gaming experience for years to come. Next-gen Hyper RX tech delivers ultra-fast gaming. You'll enjoy next-level immersion, latest AI-powered features for AMD, and it'll also do your Windows. Maybe cook you a nice meal, give you a nice little back rub. A lot of boilerplate in these darn announcements. Stock full of boilerplate. The Tough Gaming leads the charge. They have ASUS is going to release a Tough Gaming Radeon RX 9070 XT OC edition and the non-XT OC edition. And looking at the card, yeah, it's pretty big, decent size, about the size. Might be a little smaller than my 7900 GRE. For this generation, they're swapping out the thermal paste traditionally used to transfer heat from the GPU to the cooling solution. Instead, the Tough Gaming Radeon RX 9070 XT and 9070 Vanilla feature a phase change GPU thermal pad. The electrically non-conductive pad is solid at room temperature, but liquefies as it heats up. Liquid metal. Why couldn't they just say that? As it melts, it fills the microscopic gaps between the GPU and thermal module, providing superior thermal conductivity and enhanced heat dissipation, ensuring optimal performance even for sustained heavy GPU workloads. Additionally, the phase change thermal pads offer exceptional longevity. They outlast traditional phases and pastes by a significant margin, and even for graphics cards that see heavy workloads regularly. So I like that. I am a big fan of liquid metal as a phase change solution between the CPU and the cooling, your heatsink or your AIO. The PlayStation 5 uses liquid metal. No, or actually, no, it might be the PlayStation 5 Pro. That might use the liquid metal. I'm a little confused. I have to look it up because I remember reading a report. I don't know if it's true or not, that one of the design flaws of the original PlayStation 5 when you set it up vertically was the liquid metal gravity would pull down on the liquid metal, and you would have cooling issues eventually if you use it vertically. And I do have my PS5 set vertically, and it's been doing weird shit lately. It's been kind of like chugging along. I'm playing Visions of Mana, and I'm seeing hitches and frame rate drops. And the game is not what you call a graphical powerhouse. It's just weird. Anyway, back to the GPUs here. Let's see. I'm going to skip through all this boilerplate here. Here's another picture of the Prime. Yep, you got three 8-pin connectors. At least they're not using 12-volt high power. Ah! The 9070 XT OC Edition and Prime 9070 OC Edition pack a triple fan cooling solution and a compact 2.5 slot design. So, yeah, it's a lot smaller than my GRE. The Prime variants of these cards share a lot in common with the TUF models. They feature the phase change GPU thermal pads, dual ball bearing fans, and Auto Extreme manufacturing process offers proven precision and consistency. Yeah. Zero decibels technology, a dual BIOS switch, and this structural strength for the aluminum protective black plate and the reinforced PCIe graphics slots. The dual BIOS switch is going to be the interesting thing because a lot of times, and we've seen this on as far back as the RX 970, where AMD put two BIOS ROMs on the PCB and a switch. The switch is usually labeled something ridiculous, and like overclock mode or silent mode. And the issue there back then with the 970 is they had the GPUs had two BIOS ROMs on it, but only one of those BIOS ROMs had the embedded GOP driver inside it to display the graphics and BIOS information when you ran your motherboard in UEFI mode instead of CSM. Well, now CSM is a thing of past. CSM is going away. Windows 11 will not support it. So the question remains: Is NVIDIA will AMD put a GOP driver inside both of these ROMs, these dual BIOS images? They need to, because it's been so confusing for people when they update their BIOS. Say like they have a machine with a BIOS that predated Windows 11, where CSM mode was the default. So then they flash the BIOS. UEFI mode then becomes the default, and they don't get any kind of display until Windows loads the graphics drivers. So that is a major issue that they need to take care of. And hopefully both BIOS ROMs on these GPUs will have the embedded the embedded GOP driver, so people don't go through that crapola again. But yeah, so what we got here is the 9700 XT. Well, these are the offerings from ASUS. That's all we have. We haven't seen anything from. Well, MSI did leak their NVIDIA GPU. I reported that a couple of days back. But I'm kind of liking these ASUS cards. They do look very nice. I'm not sold yet on if I'm going to replace my GRE or not. The 7900 GRE is a fantastic card, and my system right now runs anything I throw at it like a hot knife through butter. But I'm kind of curious. I'm toying with the idea in my head of maybe in the spring after tax return. Maybe I'm not set in stone on this. I'm not committing to anything. I might drop a 9800 X3D into this and one of these new 9000 series GPUs. And I can probably sell the GRE or keep it. I think the GRE is going to be a collector's item at some point in the future. And I wouldn't mind boxing it up and setting it aside and just keeping it and putting it on the wall. Like, I got a lot of plain wall here. So I'm kind of torn on what I'm going to do there. What about you? You got money burning a hole in your pocket? You got tax time coming up? Ring the bell, subscribe, let us know in the comments below. To Gonzo Media. We will see you in the next one.